Yo, what's good everybody? It's BBKDRAGOON here. So excited for today's video because we're reviving Coffee Break. This is one of the oldest series from my channel, started back in 2012 or 2013. If any of you are old school subs who remember it, tell me in the comments so I can internet high five you. I had the chance to sit down with Blessious a few days ago, and for those who don't know, he is a Destiny and variety YouTuber who also streams. He makes some of the nicest, most high-quality live content there is, that sort of couch bro-ness where you're sitting down, listening to your friend, having a good time, blasting away enemies, and he is such a nice dude. We're going to start the interview a little bit into it, skipping the pleasantries and just diving right into the story that is Blessious, because that's what I wanted to hit on with him, was what roads converged and led to this point where you're now YouTubing and streaming, and how did you even discover this platform? What was the journey and the story of Blessious like? And what I learned during the entire interview is what a humble, nice guy. One of the most humble, nice dudes ever. Every time I communicated with him, he just was far and away an extremely down-to-earth, grounded, just nice dude. And he's got quite the story to share, from a broadcast background that led into sort of some turbulent times for him and ultimately emerged into a creative outlet that was YouTube. So like I said, we're going to dive into the interview a little bit into it. If you enjoyed, please guys, go check out Blessious. I'm going to have his links in the description below, and they will also be on the end card. So thanks so much, and drop a like if you're excited that Coffee Break is back. Let's roll back the clocks for a second. You got your start in radio and broadcast, right? Could you tell me a little bit more like about that? How did you get involved in that world? What were you doing? Like how did it all come about, and did you enjoy it?
Sure. So I was a huge outcast in high school, like really bad. So my dad was a prison warden, and basically we moved. Like I moved so many times. I was born in El Paso, moved to Glen Burnie, Maryland, moved to Beaumont, Texas, and then moved back to El Paso, and then my dad retired, and then we went to like smack dab right in the middle of Pennsylvania to a town called Sunbury, and it was right before I went to high school, and all that moving was just weird, you know. I didn't have any friends or anything. Yeah. The only thing I really had was like video games, and I'm really appreciative that my parents are so cool with like video games and everything. So going into high school, I was just like, you know, just like odd man out, and it felt, and I really just didn't have anything. And I wasn't a big fan of high school. I just wanted to go home. And probably like my sophomore year, man, I got really into WoW. Oh, yeah. And WoW was still vanilla. And I loved it, man. It was like a job. I came back to school, I was like pasty white. And, but I found out that with my passion of hate for school, that there's a ability to get out of school and get credit for career exploratory. Yeah. And the lady was, I went and I asked the guidance lady, like, hey, like, how can I get into this? And they're like, oh, is there anything that you want? And I'm like, well, my uncle used to be in radio. I think that'd be cool to try to do, right? Yeah. And the lady's, all right, I'm gonna call a person I know, and we'll see if we can get that started. And so I guess she like called this guy, and he's like, yeah, have him come in. And so it was just like this radio station that played the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now, because it was like 2007.
And now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually the slogan when I first got there. 70s, 80s, 90s, and now. Why? 106.5. Yeah. Oh, and then I had a sister station, Big Country, and I didn't like.
Dude,
I was not a fan of
that
that station.
So amazing.
Only when I mimic those old voice lines from those old guys. But so I met this guy. His name was Tom. He really took me under his wing. He had me part of like his morning show, and he was like a father figure almost to me. It's like he was just a coach, man. Just a coach, and it was just really awesome. And so I started working there part-time, and then everything kind of progressed. So like when school started, what I would do is go in at 5 a.m., but I didn't care. I loved that radio station so much, and like I loved it. It was just the coolest thing ever. And then I was able to make commercials, or like I tried to piece together like the imaging. So like they would have a voice guy, and I would put all the sound effects. So like between songs you hear, why, 106.5, and like it played between songs.
All the bumpers and stuff?
Yeah, bumpers, exactly.
Nice.
The liners and bumpers. And So I was doing that, and then I would go to school at like 9 or ish. And then I would go there for like 2 classes. I would come back during the mid of the day because I don't know why they scheduled me like that. And then, but I didn't care. Like, and I would just go there. I'd work, and then I'd go back for a few more classes. And I did that. And my boss, his daughter was in theater, and he was like, "Hey, you should do theater." I'm like, "Nah, man. The stereotypes of theater."
Yeah.
And I eventually was like, "No, man. Like, why don't you do like tech stuff for the theater, like lights and sound?" I'm like, "You know what? I'll try it." Right?
Yeah.
And it was a life-changing experience in high school. Like, seriously, like I went from no one to a guy that all of a sudden had like a family of friends, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And I did that, and then graduated, and then right out of high school, I went into radio. It wasn't full-time at first, maybe like 6 months of just part-time stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like your friends are still like waiting to go to college. So right when they started going to college, that's about the time I got my full-time job. And I was in charge of all the commercials. So I had to assign commercials to people, make the commercials and everything. And then I eventually worked my way from being a nighttime guy to afternoon guy.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing ever. It was the coolest thing ever. And I was, after that, like I started all like the social media pages for the radio stations. And then there's a guy that was hired after me. He worked for the competitor, but he was really cool. And he was a good friend of me. And he and I started like a video production division. And what we did was we did like video content for like the social media pages for like the stations. And then what we would do is we'd contract to Comcast and be like, "Hey, we'll make commercials for cheap for you guys. Just refer them to us and we'll plug them in for you." And like we were undercutting like businesses by thousands. Like we were doing it crazy cheap.
Yeah.
Which probably wasn't smart, but it was like, hey, at least we get, something under our belt,
work.
right?
Yeah, you're getting a lot of work.
And then that's how I got into video editing. So after that, I was like 20. So that's like ages 17 to 23 combined.
Yeah.
And then from 23, I moved to Virginia Beach, Virginia. It was the same company, but I was just in charge of like social media and stuff there. And I missed the family vibe because it went from like a small radio station to like one of the top 40 radio stations in the country.
Yep.
And it was a lot of like hecticness. There was a lot of huge egos for no reason.
Yep.
Like huge egos. Like, oh my God. I am so thankful no one in the Destiny community has an ego like these guys in radio. And it was, I'm not talking bad about them, but like they
it was
egos.
a whole different dynamic, a whole different world.
Yeah, and I wasn't happy there. And and maybe that came off a little bit. I don't know. Like I wasn't like mean to anyone, but I was able to meet my fiance there, and she's in the United States Navy. We were together for a year, and then we got an apartment together. We got a puppy dog, Cocker Spaniel named Leia, and then another Cocker Spaniel puppy named Han, and then and then she deployed. So before she deployed, Destiny came out September of 2014. I got it. I played the betas and everything, and I was really just sad because. To me, I played through the story. I was just like, what is this black heart? Like, what? Why? Like, that was just like, I was very confused about the black heart. I'm like, is this the darkness? What is this? It's vague. And like, then I saw like the Angry Joe review because he always posted after you buy the game.
Yeah.
I just find that ironic. And then, so like, I remember on the phone with my 2 best friends from back home, like, get this. And then my one friend got it, and he was like, okay. And we would just sit in front of the loot cave for hours. And then he stopped playing it. And then I kind of stopped playing it. And then fast forward, my fiance deploys in April. And I come back to Destiny, to get the free Tumbler Sparrow. And I'm going to Crucible with Patience and Time. I remember this vividly during Dark Below. And I get my butt wrecked. I'm like, yep, I suck at this game. I never thought I'd pick it back up. And then my fiance deployed. And I lost my job shortly after because I was like so sad at work.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm sorry, man. and I didn't mean that to come out in my work, but I was like really just sad. And my fiance's best friend's boyfriend, like was a Destiny head, just like he played it a lot. And I'm like, hey man, you know, I used to be really into Destiny. He's like, yo, you should play with me. And then so like he had a couple friends, and then it was just like the perfect like puzzle piece. So like, you know, I'd be like trying to do work, and at the time I was trying to do voiceover work, and so like I would like go out and like do these voiceover auditions, and then, you know, maybe crack open a beer and like play with these guys and try to do Vault of Glass, because we weren't the best, and it was hard to pug pickup group a lot of groups, and it was a lot of fails. But you know, it was a lot of like 2 a.m. victories after grinding Vault of Glass and finally getting Fatebringer. I'm like, huzzah! And screaming, and you realize that you woke up your entire freaking apartment complex. But after that, I basically did that. Had to move out of my apartment and put everything in storage because there's a problem with the apartment. But moved into
like a mold thing, or
no, we had a shady landlord.
Oh, even worse, dude. He's just like, all right, everybody better find a new place to sleep tomorrow. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it was really shady. So like, and my fiance was deployed, so like I had to move everything.
All by
and
yourself,
we also had a roommate that was also deployed.
Her
friend. So like I had to like move her stuff, and that was hard to explain.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting court orders to pay rent to the court, not him. And he's just like, you better pay me. I'm like, I don't want to go to jail. Yeah, that's legit.
We're done here.
And, yeah. And
oh my gosh.
So you get that, and like I had like this breath of fresh air, and about that time it's August, and that's when I started doing trying to do videos. Yeah. And all my first Destiny videos are still up. They're still cringy as ever, but they're up. And then that's kind of like how it all started.
Man, dude, that is crazy. Like, there's this breadcrumb trail of events that lead to like this particular spot and moment. That is so stinking cool. Question: when
sorry,
you were,
it took forever for that story.
No, dude, that's what I like to hear. Like, that's what the viewers don't get in the 6 or 7 minute video. Or sometimes people will watch you for years and they'll have no idea where you got to that point. I feel like with YouTubers or streamers, content creators are more similar to their viewers than the viewers think, right? Everybody has a story, and life always throws curveballs. So like just hearing how like moving so much when you're a kid, I can't imagine what that'd be like, dude. Just like there's no community that you get to build around yourself at all, because you pick up and move. So like, let's transition real quick. You said you got into voice acting. Was that around the time that your fiance got deployed? How did that come about? Is it something you still pursue? Because like every time I listen to you in your videos, you're very emotive, expressive. Your voice has a lot of range. You do great impressions. And so I'm wondering, do you think also that theater background, even though you were doing tech, did that play a role? No pun intended, by the way.
I liked it. When I was in theater, I was kind of like skipping along. I did a tech for like a musical, and like there's like 2 plays after that I actually did act in, and I was a New Yorker. I was a New Yorker in the one, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I was obsessed. I am obsessed with voice acting. Yeah. And when I lost my job, you know, I had a couple months severance, so I was just like, you know, I'm gonna follow this, right? Yeah. And so I knew of a website called voices.com. It was I got a lot of small things, like a lot of $100. Like a lot was like Spotify brings you. Yeah. Like that. Or just like or
you've got that kind of golden voice, man. I feel like you're way too modest about it, but you do. Like when you pull into that deep register, it's like coming this summer, and you're like, oh, it's so good.
I always do it to be cheesy, because isn't it cheesy though? Like
it is cheesy, but that's kind of like, isn't that what you've worked in broadcast? People love cornball, right? It's like the more you play into that role, the more we're like, yeah, I like that. You don't want to hear the bumper of you're listening to 102.3. You know, like no, it's true. It's not true. Cool.
No, you're right. I mean, yeah, but like no one pictures some guy just sitting in a booth, like just reading a bunch of lines saying, "Why 106.5? Why 106.5? Why 106? Like oh yeah, that's exactly how you have to read it.
Yeah, you're like, where's the delay in the sentence? It's like last year and a half, or Last year and a half.
Last year and a half. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Being the editor for that was probably just, oh, I don't know how people can like disseminate 40 reads and go, yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that seems a bit mundane, but I love doing it. The biggest thing I got from it was I got a voice line for the video game Wasteland 2.
That's right.
And
I remember reading about that.
yeah, and it was about 40,000 words.
Jeez.
The microphone I use now is a radio mic. So what I did when I got the job, I'm like, oh, I have to get like perfect audio quality. So
Yeah.
I brought my studio into the bedroom that I had, and I fish lined the XLR cable for the microphone that connects it to like basically my computer into the closet.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I like padded everything with like blankets, and like it sounded fun. You couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But it sucked. Like reading all those lines
In a
all
super hot
those
little
lines.
closet.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
man.
and then the worst thing is I had to like cut every voice line down and like send it to him.
Oh,
And I don't know if that was worth what I got paid.
but they did.
But I
like,
did get
You
paid.
had to chop everything up and go, here it is.
Oh yeah.
Jiminy
It
Christmas.
sucked.
But you now have that credit. There's a Blessious IMDb page out there with Wasteland 2. And
Yeah.
are you still pursuing like other video game voice acting? I know it's something you're passionate about.
Like with YouTube, like it's kind of weird because people think, oh, you just play video games, but it's more like, you know, you play Destiny for maybe like, you know, 30 minutes and then you edit for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And then you like go, whew, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So if I did anything more, I think my fiance would be a little upset with me.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to pursue it. I mean, if someone was like, hey, I want you for this, like I would definitely be like, oh, heck yeah. But I'm not going to go actively seeking.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's fast forward here a little bit further. You've been YouTubing and you've been creating videos, and we're like, let's say 6, maybe 8 months in. Did you know from the beginning the direction that you wanted to take your channel, and like specifically what your creative process looked like? And did you land on the content that you enjoyed right away, or did it take like a lot of trial and error before you really found your unique blessiousness?
Blessiousness. You know, that's really hard. Like at the time, when I started doing YouTube videos, I had a lot of inspiration. Like
Yeah.
I was addicted to Angry Video Game Nerd. I was addicted to that guy with glasses and Channel Awesome, and I knew of like Angry Joe, and then I like binge watched John Tron, like all the episodes there.
Yeah.
And back in 2012, I thought Game Grumps was just genius. And then like I know that there's like this like let's play-ishness, and you know, I'm not saying I was the first Destiny guy to use a face cam, but I'm pretty sure I
You were
was.
pretty early.
Question mark.
You were pretty early for your style of vid.
And so what I want to be was like, hey, use a face cam, and then kind of just be like, hey, I'm playing nothing like this is like the best, nothing data like, nothing like informative, just having fun in Destiny.
Yeah.
And doing that is kind of hard because that nothing like that drives views. But then like it's kind of bad because I know. So I saw Mr. Fruit do a weapon thing. I'm like, well, you know, let's just try this. And I know of SEO because I have to, you know, I worked in radio, and
Yeah.
you know, search engine optimization is like what radio stations try to sell now because they're running out of things to sell.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, okay, so people are probably searching that. So, and then that's what like kind of like took the channel off the ground. And the video that went kind of viral for me with SEO or YouTube algorithm was a video I despise so bad. It was the first time it was a video of, it was my first webcam video. I was using my phone as a webcam. I bought a green screen, but I'm lighting it with 2 bed lamps. And I'm so nervous. I'm so quirky. And it was for Haka Herjadi. And apparently like no one really made videos about it. And it went from like an average of 500 views to like 26,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And like it got hate. And I was really self-conscious about that. But I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go forward. I'm going to try to correct myself and like do better. And I just wanted to, I was pretty set on just being like, just having fun in Destiny.
Yeah. Man, I just found the video, and it's like, it looks good. You're underselling it. Like, the webcam quality looks pretty good. You're ahead of the curve. Like, this is literally 2015. This is like right Taken King time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you gone back and resurrected this video to avenge your previous like memories? Like, brought out this gun again and going, no, I will.
No, I actually dismantled the gun from my hate of that, and I wish I didn't. So I don't have that Haka Herja D anymore.
Man, that is stinking cool. But that caught on, and even with like the negative feedback and people going, "Where is this?" You know, was that the moment you really like, this is it? This is the type of stuff that I want to do.
No, not with that video. I was really self-conscious.
You're like, well, no, forget it, we're done.
No, so like what I wanted to do was like just mix like skits with like Let's Plays. That's what I really wanted to do. And the perfect example is my I Quit Destiny video. Yeah. Where the premise was a video before I used like a really slow pulse rifle in a time where slow pulse rifles just were the worst. Like it's not like how it was now where like they're usable. And someone would just like rip me a new one in the comments and then and blame me for all the nerfs that ever happened in Destiny. Oh yeah. And so I just like had my friend Andrew JRT dramatically read it, and it was set to like Pokemon music, and then it was just like a skit. It was just a skit of just like, okay, you know, you're right. Let me call Pete Parsons of Bungie, and it was just a skit, and then it went into like just a Let's Play of me using it again. I forget what I did, but that video for me kind of went viral, and that's what I wanted to do, but that video didn't come out until like a lot later. But it's kind of hard to do those kind of videos consistently because, I mean, if you make a video every day, it's hard to make those insanely high edits.
Yep. Maintaining a schedule, man, is so stinking hard when there's like in your brain. I know Blessious has kicking around like 10 plus video ideas of these really intricate, more like editing heavy projects that require a lot of resources, but then you're like, when am I gonna get 3 or 4 days to work on a single video, especially like in the landscape that is YouTube now, where I feel like if you're not hitting like more than 2 or 3 uploads a week, you're sort of gonna fall off the relevancy curve of the algorithm.
That's true.
So that's interesting, man.
YouTube is scary. Like, like I love it, and like I'm so grateful for like the platform. But man, it's a bucking bronco, man. You got to hang on by the seat of your pants on that bad boy.
It's ups and downs, and so like, tell me like right now, do you feel like you're in a really like stable place? You've got a rhythm figured out, and it's become emergent over the last, because that video you just talked about came out 10 months ago. I think 10 or 11 months ago when I looked it up. And so over the last 10, 11 months, do you feel like you have found a rhythm, or is it still continual this worry about peaks and valleys? You never know what's going to hit, what's going to trend or whatnot.
Sure. You know, after that video, I kind of reduced like the skit thing just a little bit because at the time it was probably like the most I hated that job. And I was working that job, and then, you know, it's kind of hard. You know, I was working till 2, and then I would come home, be with my fiance, and then like 11 o'clock at night, go work on a video, and then go to bed at 2, wake up at 4, kind of thing. Yeah, it was the worst. I quit my job in October. Yeah, and then they put me on the schedule for another week. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, okay, I'll do it, but no. And then they put me on the schedule for 2 more days. I'm like, sorry, we need you. I'm like, what? And so like I kind of like pieced after that, and I started doing 2 videos a day. And in my brain, it was like, okay, people know me for Destiny. I'll make Destiny videos, and then I'll make different videos on top of that. And I start double uploading. And I thought like, hey, this is the perfect way to grow, right? And I did not get burnt out from it. And I was just like in love with YouTube. And then I would go and stream. And a lot of people, man, you're doing too much. But I'm just like, man, I loved it. I was living the dream, the proverbial dream, and I was living it. And my double uploads never did quite that well. Some of them, my second most popular video was a Zelda video. and it's 99.9% non-subscriber viewed.
Wow. And that would have never happened if you weren't probably doing the doubles, right? Because the doubles are the more variety, right? You've got the Destiny one, and then you've got the exploratory stuff.
Yeah, like it could be Overwatch, it could be like Friday the 13th, or like whatever's like kind of trending.
Yeah.
And the double uploads were always hit or miss, and I understood that, but I kept doing it just because I'm like, this is how I grow. So in April, Destiny's final update goes live, and that's my best month ever on YouTube, ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like living on the high horse, not really doing anything. I was like, it was a moment of just like, I think I got this. And then the adpocalypse happened, and at first I see everyone going, and I see like big channels complaining. I'm just like, well, apparently I should be this part, but I'm happy where I'm at. So like, whew, at least I'm good. And then the worst month happened right after, and it was just the slip slope. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm happy. Like, I love what I'm doing, but it's never been this stressful before.
Was your channel impacted by the big ad stuff?
Not until end of May and this month.
Okay. And so do you not see it rebounding this month?
I recently, okay, so this is a little
weird. I'll just throw this out there because like I haven't noticed it on some months, but then I have some creators who are like, dude, look at my graph, and it's like, oh my gosh, the cliff. So
yeah, so like right around the time of May 18th, I remember I was at the Destiny 2 event, and like the cliff was just like right there. Like, that was like like horrible. And that's when I started panicking. But everything is getting better now that I don't use keywords that could be in a bad news story. So I just remove anything that's like this explosive rounds, or like pulse rifle,
high caliber sponges.
Yeah, and like Nkut shared that like he couldn't monetize his Red Death video because it had death, and so like I DM'd him. I'm like, hey man, like I've been having luck just not doing this. And that's why people are like, oh, you clickbait. Man, you have to be so clever with your titles now.
Yep.
You have to. I mean,
you have to play the game to a certain degree, dude. And the viewers don't always understand it. It's like with thumbnail and title, at this point, you're getting shouted out as a viewer, like from so many different directions that you have to grab them and bring them in. But if the content backs it up and it's good, it's solid, then there's obviously the ethical line of like, I've never seen Blessious throw like 2 women in bikinis holding like around his shoulders with explosions and kittens, flying out of your eyes or something. So I think
instant demonetization because of the explosion.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, we can't have that. But the kittens, the laser bolt kittens, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, another pivot point here as we're sort of wrapping this up. What would Blessious of today tell a younger Blessious? Words of wisdom that would like just offer yourself. If you could step back in time, you pick the time frame. Is there anything that you go back and it's like, here's the sports almanac, Blessious. You need this, and bet on red.
Honestly, I don't think, like, even though I was kind of like a nerd, like everyone's like, man, I'd go back to high school and I'd do it all different. I would let everything play out. But like in 2014, I would be like, hey, you own an Elgato. Make a video on Destiny. Ooh, and then peace out.
Get back in the DeLorean to go 88 miles per hour back to the future.
Yeah, just like 2014, September. Make a video on this.
You would get in a little bit sooner is basically that, because
that 1000%, yeah.
The opportunities there would be absolutely insane. Well, where did the taco come from? I can't leave without asking about the taco.
The Holy Taco?
Yes.
The Holy Taco was something just weird. So Blessious, I'll be quick about that. Blessious was created because my last name is Blessing.
Okay.
And
that's
when
a
I was
sweet last name, by the way, Mr. Blessing.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's fake. It's not. But so I was like 16 and I was a big wow head. I already said that. But I made an undead female priest.
Yes.
I named it Blessious. So like when I start doing Destiny content, I'm like, everyone has cool monikers. You get Markiplier, you got More Console, you got Mr. Fruit. I'm like, I'll be Blessious. And so I thought it was like clever at the time. And then, so with the Holy Taco, I needed currency for my Twitch stream. Like at the time, like currencies were kind of big in Twitch. Not so much anymore because the bot shut down. But I was just like, okay, I like tacos and bless. Okay, Holy Tacos, and that was it.
It's just a natural fit.
Yeah, it's not that fun of a story. Like it's not.
So. It was one of those chat bots, right? Where you play the games in the chat, like you earn 15 new tacos by being here.
Yes, exactly.
I love those things, dude. Now people have bit battles where they like are literally attacking other people in the chat with bits. It's like, he has 3 HP left. Barbara dropped in 3 more bits. He is dead. Revive him for 10? I don't know. So
I did see those bots, but I don't know. I think I'm good without the bots because they'll take over your channel, man.
Yep.
All of a sudden, people are just playing games in chat, and then you're just like, where's the actual chat?
Where's the questions, guys? Where's the questions? You're over here memeing too hard with your chat bots.
The meme overload.
Well, dude, thank you very much for sharing the story. I think it's super cool to hear the background story of what you don't see off screen, right? We connect with these creators, and I've watched you on and off for, like, the last year and a half since I first saw you pop up on Planet Destiny, and it's like, you never know the full story behind what's happening. And I think that creates such a bigger connection for the viewer going, hey, that dude has a story that's kind of like mine. Like, his life has ups and downs and bumps in the road. And look at that. He's over here creating, doing cool stuff. Maybe I can do the same thing. Or I don't know if it's inspirational or not. But to me, it's super cool to hear. So thank you for coming on and chatting. Where can the folks watching find your content and what you do? Is there anything really exciting coming up? What's next for Mr. Blessious?
What's next? I don't know. I'm flying by the seat of my pants right now. Just the D2 beta. When D2 beta comes out, I plan to go big. I'm going to go for that whammy. But I don't know what the whammy is, so I'm still thinking. But you can find me on youtube.com/Blessious. Twitter is twitter.com/Blessious Plays because someone took Blessious at Heathen. And so those are the 2 ones that you can find me, or twitch.tv/Blessious.
Excellent. Well, thanks, man. You have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the beta.
Hey, yeah, man. Thank you so much for the honor, and I'm really appreciative, man.
Cheers.